guys, and welcome back to Creative Pet Keeping. My name is Kasha. I am your host, and this is another episode of Fish Fan Friday, where I give you updates on my fish. I make these videos every week, usually, if I don't miss a week. I missed one last week, but besides that, they're every week. And this week, I thought I would actually focus a little more on my sorority tank, and instead of filming myself talk, I would just kind of let you guys enjoy watching the natural behaviors of what my females do in the tank. Now, they do see me right now because I am behind the camera, and because of that, they are congregating in the corner of the tank where I usually feed them. So even though they got a little bit of food a few minutes ago, they're still trying to see if they can beg for more. So they might be doing that, but as they get bored of me, they'll probably go all over the place and kind of swim around and explore. So I thought that since I have been focusing so much on talking about betta breeding as well as keeping male bettas, I would talk about female sorority tanks a little more. I would like to. I would also like to not have incorrect English all the time. Ugh, being an immigrant. So, one of the most important things in my opinion... Oh, wait, hold on. I got some packages, and there's a box, and Mookie went in the box. Oh, Mookie. Oh, why camera focus? Why can't you focus? And then Banana's passed out. This is kind of adorable. Mookie's at your new home. Are we gonna ship you to China? Yeah, but that smells interesting. That's Banana. You're so silly. Okay, back to fish. This is supposed to be about oh boy, it's supposed to be about fish, not about cats. So, one of, in my opinion, the most important things that you should think about, well, there's two. When setting up a sorority tank or planning on having a sorority tank is one, because you're dealing with very aggressive fish, which most bettas, their aggression levels vary. Some will be more aggressive, some will be less aggressive, but there is always a potential that you can get a fish that either, if it's young, can mature into a very aggressive fish, or you can buy a fish that's already very aggressive and territorial. And because of that, you need to have a backup plan, either breeding containers or have another spare tank or tanks or jars or something. If you need to separate your fish, you have to be prepared for that. That is something you just need to think about when you're putting a sorority tank together. You might never need it. You might put your fish together and they will have magical unicorn peaceful times of happiness, but it might not. So it's always good to be prepared. The second most important thing is you should try to get the largest tank that you can for bettas. A lot of the times when we think of bettas, we think small, and usually for male bettas, smaller tanks, about 2.5 or 5 gallon or 10 gallons work really well. But if you're talking about a group of female bettas that sometimes will stake their own little territories, their own little areas, and be aggressive with each other, you want to give them the most space possible to reduce aggression. So a lot of people recommend that you do 10 gallons or up. In my personal opinion, I would do 20 gallons and up. I think still 10 gallons is making it harder. The bigger of a tank you get, pretty much the easier it will become, and pretty much you'll be setting yourself up for success. How I've kind of figured this out is occasionally, if I have to take out my females for whatever reason, like a few months ago, I had my previous 20-gallon tall tank. It had cracked and it was leaking. So what I had to do is remove all my females, and what I did is I temporarily put them in a critter keeper before I could move them over to another tub. Oh, sorry, I yawned. Banana yawned, and I saw her yawn, and she made me yawn. So, what I did is I put them in the breeding container, and as soon as I put them in the breeding container, even though you see these girls getting along right now, they all started fighting with each other. Because when you put females in a cramped situation, they more than likely will fight. I've seen it happen on a few occasions, so I try not to put them in small containers anymore if possible. And because of that, as soon as I put them in a large tank, the fighting stops. Now, I've had minimal fights happen in here. I've had this female right here get in a fight with this marble right there, and I had to separate them once for a week. I put one of the females in a breeding container. That was because they were both starting to mature, but after separating them for a while, I reintroduced them, and now they're okay and they don't go after each other anymore. So with a betta tank, besides the tank size, the third thing you need to worry about is, unlike other community tanks, especially peaceful tanks where you can just kind of maintain them and observe them when you want to, but for the most part you can let them be, with female sorority tanks, in my opinion, it is good to make it a habit to spend some time to observe your tank daily. Because since bettas are more aggressive, you have to see how they interact with each other, and if you see any fish getting picked on or bullied or any sort of fighting, you need to be able to separate your fish if needed for their safety. A lot of the times people won't pay attention and they'll wait till it's too late and you have a dead fish or a fish that's really injured. So it's a really good habit. Just as I'm sitting right now, I'm looking at my fish, to watch your fish. This is also why, unlike my other tanks who are in my kitchen, I keep my female tank in my bedroom, because that is the place I wake up to. I look at them. Before I go to sleep, I look at them. A few times during the day I pass by here, I look at them. I'm constantly looking at them, versus in the kitchen, unless I go over there and do maintenance, I'm not really seeing my fish. So definitely pick a spot where you're going to be seeing your fish a lot and observe them, so you can make good choices on what you should do with your fish. Sometimes you will get lucky and you will have a group of females that will just never have issues and everything's gonna be rainbow unicorns and colorful, bless you banana, she sneezed, rainbows and unicorns and happy fish. But sometimes, you know, with fish keeping, it's not, especially with live animals, not everything is completely predictable. Now, some aggression is okay. As you can see, the new female that I got was chasing this one a little bit, and that's okay. Some nipping is okay, some posturing, but any sort of serious fin nipping and serious aggression and bullying is not okay. Another tip that I have that will help prevent a lot of issues is try to get plants for your tank if possible. Live plants are awesome, and if you need plants, check out H2O plants on YouTube. But you generally want plants that will grow fast. Now recently I actually trimmed back my plants because they were growing so much they sort of covered the top and I was not getting any light over here, and some of these guys were suffering because they were not getting light, so I trimmed everything back. But some of the things I have in here is I have guppy grass in here. Guppy grass is the plant that's right here. It's kind of like the one that's kind of everywhere, and it's this like thinly leafed plant. It's all over and it kind of fills up the tank super fast and it provides for good coverage. I also have water lettuce, which is the plant at the top. I recently trimmed back the roots because they were a little crazy and out of control and had some algae growing in them, so I kind of trimmed them back so they weren't as crazy, but they also provide a visual barrier and kind of break the line of sight for the fish, so they also help. But as you can see, besides begging over here because my fish see me, a lot of the times, like the female koi and then this one, they'll all kind of swim and they'll spend a lot of time exploring. They'll spend a lot of time searching for food. If there's any critters they can eat, they're gonna be hunting. And then females also tend to have favorite spots. Males do this too. In my fry tank, I noticed that males have picked out territories, little spots of the tank that they decided to claim as theirs. Females will also pick their territories. They just won't guard them as much. They'll have their favorite spots they can go to, and sometimes depending on their aggression levels, they will chase other fish around, but they're not as bothered by other fish entering their territory. Oh, see? The koi female right now was posturing to the blue female. As the blue female passed. So they'll do that a lot with each other. They'll communicate a lot. And sometimes they'll have displays of aggression, but a lot of times, not all the time, but sometimes the displays of aggression actually prevent aggression, if that makes sense. A few of you have been asking about, do I still have bettas in cups? And yes, I do. I have some right here. These are my medium-sized fry. And as soon as I sell a few of my larger ones, I will move some of these guys to the other larger jars. And if any of these guys get really aggressive, I will move these guys to the cups. But what I have noticed is that these small runts so far are not really showing much aggression. And this could be because they still need to develop a little more. I'm not really sure. I wonder what size has to do with Betta's level of aggression. But at the same time, they are going to be spending more time growing up together, and I wonder how that's going to affect them. I definitely think that any females from here, especially this tank, will do very well in sororities because they've been growing up in a social environment. And last but not least, I just uncarded this guy, so I'll show him to you. This is one of my red marbles. He's kind of feeling fancy because I uncarded him. And then the koi father is back there building another bubble nest. And then this is my cellophane marble that is becoming more and more blue every day. It's kind of really pretty. I was hoping he would get more of a Dalmatian pattern, but I think his fins are just gonna get fully blue. I think that's what he's kind of going for. So that's the update for today. Next week I'll give you guys an update on the rest of my fry as they are progressing to grow, starting to grow, and as I'm slowly starting to get better at telling their genders apart. You guys will be getting an update on that. Be sure to go to my bonus vlog channel, Creative Pet Vlogs. I put out a new video yesterday about hanging out with Sarah from the Super Collies and her dog Hero. If you've seen America's Got Talent, she had a performance with Hero very recently, and I actually hung out with him in Colorado. So I have some clips of hanging out with the dogs, as well as driving through Colorado, visiting a coffee shop that was made from train cars. Like pretty cool stuff. I look like a hobo half the time in that video, but it's okay. It's a fun adventure. So be sure to give my smaller channel some love by going over there, subscribing, liking, and commenting, as well as subscribing to this channel if you already haven't and are new. So that's kind of it for my Fish Fan Friday update. Hopefully I'll have some cool, interesting videos for you next week. Oh, the koi male came out so he can posture. He's starting to really turn blue. He looks black right now because of the light, but he's definitely becoming full blue. So it's very interesting to see him as he is still progressing through his marbling. So that is it for the video, guys. I hope that you have an awesome day, and I'll see you on Monday.